Let me begin by acknowledging and greeting the leadership of the various political parties that accepted the invitation of the families to join us on this very sad day. A day 9 years ago, three of our fellow South Africans, because of reckless mining, the container weaver went down, treating Nkambule, Yvonne Mnisi, and Solomon Nyirenda. These are not just names. These are our fellow South Africans. And you and I can talk about pain, and I cannot imagine us carrying anywhere close to the pain that is felt by the families. If you don't know me, I want to make something really very clear, because I don't just easily apologize. And the reason why I don't apologize when I know I'm not wrong. I just want to those who accuses me and the party I represent for politicizing the death or the murder, actually, the murder of our three fellow South Africans. I want them to know that everything I've been politics. This is a political matter. I am going to deal with it politically. I am not going to apologize to anyone when I'm facing a political problem and you ask me, I must find a political problem solution. This problem of our three fellow South Africans requires political intervention, because this is pure political matter. As you are aware, just a few months ago, we were flooded by media reporting of criminals who went underground at Stilfontein. And the entire nation, including courts, say that there must be assistance. People who went under voluntarily on the 5th of February 2016, Yvonne Mnisi, Nkambule, and Solomon Nyirenda left their homes, coming to work. Law-abiding citizens. Law-abiding citizens. 9 years late, our own government is working with the private sector to ensure that their names are forgotten. And I just want to assure you, for as long as Herman Mashaba is alive, the three names will never be forgotten. Because I was deeply touched on the day when Harry eventually got hold of me, because I normally avoid taking calls that are not in my system. But this one kept on calling me, and I was forced eventually to return the call. And a few days later, I drove down. First time to Barberton, I didn't actually realize it was a long way to do in and out. And I sat down with them under the tree there. They related to me, whatever. I heard, like all of us South Africans, about the Lily Mine tragedy. And our own government had said to us that that container cannot be retrieved. Then when I was listening to the family relating what happened, I said, no, things don't add up here. The container cannot be retrieved. And I asked the family and the spokesperson there, I said, tell me, what informed government in mine management that this container cannot be retrieved? Is there any evidence to that effect? She says, no, they don't know why government, Department of Minerals and Energy, working with mine owners, why they made that decision to say to the country and the world that that container cannot be retrieved. I then asked the family, I said, the only way I can help you, because I'm not in government. That time I was actually unemployed, like I am even right now. I just left the DA. We were running a program called the People's Dialogue with South Africans were asking me to start a political party, and I said, my goodness, what have I done to be punished to this level? I said, look, the best way I can help you is to get the best lawyers in this country, to get the government and mine management to tell us what involved that decision. As I'm talking to you right now, 4 million rands in legal expenses on the train. 4 million rands legal expenses. As I'm talking to you yesterday, coming here, I'm busy still with the case. Our senior legal experts wanted me to come and sign documents because I'm taking this matter further, because we've now requested them to give us permission because they've been playing game after game with the family about retrievability of this container, including having shareholder issues. And I said, this matter has got nothing to, a container has got nothing to do with shareholders. Let's get the fucking container out. Give, please, give us the permission. I wrote a letter to the president of this country. I wrote the letter to the Speaker of the National Assembly. This current GNU, this is a grand coalition called GNU. I wrote a letter to the public protector. I wrote a letter to the South African Human Rights Commission to say, I wrote a letter to the National Prosecuting Authority to say, I've written a letter to business rescue practitioners to allow us at our own cost to get that container out, to just give us access. Are you aware, even up to today, they've not even had the decency to acknowledge our letters? We said, we don't want to mine your minerals because it looks like you have the right to those minerals. They belong to you. You are special people. We are not going to touch your mine. You can supervise the whole process. Just give us an opportunity to get this container out, because it's not only the 3 fellow South Africans who've died. The families, I don't know if fellow South Africans if you're aware, the families of the 3 deceased have been camping a kilometer away from here for 6 years. So you can imagine the punishment these people are going through. You know, every day when I wake up, every time I have to come to Lily Mine, and I've been coming here since 2020. Every time, honestly, I have to come to Lily Mine. I'm scared, and and I take myself to be a brave person. I handle difficult situations, but this particular occasion, every time I have to meet the family, I feel guilty that I'm not doing enough. I feel, Helen, why are you failing? What do I, every time? I mean, like last night, I had to meet them. What do I tell them? And to make matters worse, one thing that God deprived me is to master languages. I speak to them in Swati so that we can understand one another. You know, it makes me feel so guilty that I'm not doing enough. But I think with acceptance of political parties that have accepted, you know, when we were planning this, we then obviously engage with the family that let us invite political leaders of political parties. Let us invite NGOs and so forth. Some of them, they are now working with the American government, saying to the American government that there's human rights abuses in this country, that there's widespread expropriation of land. I invited them, including our current president. You know who was the first person in all the list? President Jacob Zuma. Few days after I wrote, without the letter, wrote to all of them single. Hardly a week later, President Jacob Zuma did not just acknowledge. He said, I'm coming. And I'm glad today is being represented here. I'm glad that ACDP and UIM, thank you so much, colleagues, UAT, for bringing me up. And I think things now really urge you not to really be apologetic about this being a political matter. This is a political matter. It requires a political solution. Let us work together for the families so that they can see justice. Just to get to have an opportunity to go and bury their loved ones. And then we can deal with the other matters. Because without any doubt, even after this container is out, for as long as Herman Mashaba is still alive, we are going to pursue civil cases against those people. It's not going to be the end. It is not going to be the end. It is for that reason this morning, I got a call at 5 in the morning to tell me people are blocking the roads. They're burning, whatever, trees and so forth. We prevented at 5 o'clock. Immediately you have to get up. I don't know how many kilometers I've walked and I've not had anything to eat up to this morning. I've just been drinking water because I'm very angry. I don't understand what the hell is going on. Why should people block us? Not just really block us from coming here in the family. The community couldn't go to work. The roads were closed. Children were unable to go to school all time. Now I'm saying to myself and I'm saying to the police, the only time we started actually removing whatever it was, that's when I came. And the guy says, no, we're still waiting. The police must lead. I said, no, they've been here for a long time. I'm going to lead. I said, no, we're going. We are removing this. I don't know how many rocks, the big trees we had to move because we said we are going to Lily Mine. No one is going to stop us. And what is actually quite sad for me, and I'm going to be writing a letter when I leave here to the Minister of Police, because this is not a joke. We don't live in a Biafran republic where people can openly disregard the laws of this country, interfere with our rights to use our roads. Asking for what we don't really know. And you can see, it's a plea to people to do this dirty job for someone else. Because I remember 3 years or so ago, we've got evidence, videos of people who bent down their shacks. If you look at the living conditions of the families, with the South African Human Rights Commission around, who are prepared to defend the rights of undocumented people in our country, but they can't. The South African Human Rights Commission, I wrote to them on numerous occasions about this Lily Mine, including inviting them here. Have they even acknowledged receipt of my letter? They've not. But let Herman Mashaba speak about undocumented foreigners that you don't want them in this country. You want to charge me for it. You're most welcome to charge me. Because I don't want to live in a country where there's a single undocumented person in this country. In a country where 12 million of our own people are unemployed. In a country where 9 years later, families are disrupted. We thought the apartheid government was bad, and it was an evil system. We went from one evil system to the next fire. We went into another one. People with no shame. Unfortunately enough, some of us, God has given us the privilege to be in the political field and forget about going about drinking expensive whiskeys and wines and focus on what is important for the future of our nation. because I know how I grew up in a village in a tin house brought up by my sisters. And I'm saying, no, I don't want another heaven or even a what's it. Grew up the way I grew up and said I did nothing. I will use my privileged position to really fight the evil. Because when you are confronting evil, you must face it head on. Don't play games. I don't play games in my life. And I'm not scared to take tough decisions when it is necessary. And fighting for the Lily Mine 3 is a necessary project for all of us South Africans to find. Those who feel Pretty, Yvonne, and Solomon are not important, I'm telling you they're important to me. If I met them in their lives, I've met their families, and they've now become my family. And I can tell you, everyone in the state today, as a South African, are you aware you are my family? You're my family. We are one family. All of us South Africans, we are family. So we need to really cover for one another when you are threatened. Like right now, what's happening with organizations when lie about what's happening in our country, and you expect it to keep quiet. And the last few days, I've been fighting this. This is totally unacceptable. This government doing without any doubt the last 30 years, we are responsible. They are responsible for the mess we're in. South Africans, when we are facing a threat, all of us, we must be able to really have the guts to actually face it. Because there's a nonsense of going around the world when we lie about our country. It's unacceptable. Yes, if we've done something wrong, absolutely. But don't you tell me there is widespread expropriation. I don't know. Maybe it's happening in Mpumalanga. Where in Gauteng where I live, I've never seen it. When we talk about the human rights abuses here in Lily Mine, here, just a meter away from here. It's what we call human rights abuse. And I've invited to this organization to be here to fight for all of us as South Africans. Because we don't have to fight for South Africans because we're black or white. We must fight for South Africans because they are South Africans. We are all South Africans. But we want to, we have the responsibility of that nation. Because if you look at our country right now, can you undo what God has created over the last 350 years? There's just no way. The only way we're going to survive as a nation is to accept that we are going to coexist. Because you try and unscramble this and create chaos. And I see these forces are trying to divide us along racial lines. And what makes me even more angrier is to position us as black people that we cannot lead, we cannot be trusted, we are corrupt. That is, I take serious exception to that. I take serious exception to this because the whole idea behind this plan is to position us as black people to accept the body status. And unfortunately, some of our people actually have believed it. I grew up in that environment from time to time. People say, no, no. Nas Clarissa Helen Mashawati Heban Mashab. Oh, Kiwujibu. Clarissa Heman Mashawaki Heman Masham. And these forces, that is what they want to do. And unfortunately, they are working with a very, very weak government with no leadership that can actually fight for our country. That is where I have a problem. But I think we are here to ask our government, to ask all of us as South Africans, let's hope, as the pastor said, by August, this container must be out. And I heard Lerato saying something about August. if it can happen in August. You know, I was born on the 26th of August. It will be my birthday present. Oh. But you don't have to wait for August. The families can still be here subjected to this container. If we can get the courts to give instructions within the next few months, can get this container out so that these families can go back and start their lives again. Because they've committed. You know how many times I've tried to get the families to go back home, says, please go home and live your life. We'll fight it. I'm not going to let you down. They says, no, Mr. Masha, we're not going anywhere. And now you tell me, can you blame them? So we're sitting with a real serious challenge. A serious challenge that if we're not going to get this container out, these families will never see a normal life again. And now, tell me, are we expected to sleep in our houses inside tent and waterproof and all the other places? I'm going to be the last South African to accept evil to exist in my midst. And I hope I can get more and more South Africans, black and white, who can join to fight for justice. Because this constitution adopted in 1996 has got human rights element in it. And one thing that, in closing, that makes me also angry. There's a movement throughout the world called Black Lives Matter. Have you heard of that movement called Black Lives Matter? Nkambule, Solomon Nyirenda, and Yvonne, are they not black? Don't their lives matter? So, and I've challenged this movement to say we've got three black South Africans, and Black Lives Matter. Can you really join us in ensuring that we can get the families to see justice? I'm afraid it looks like they're not black enough. Looks like they're not black enough. I don't know which fights they pick out for black people, but the Mnisi family, the Nyirenda family, and in Nkambule, unfortunately, they don't qualify in that black category of getting the attention of Black Lives Matter campaign worldwide. And this is something as black people we need to really watch against, not to be used for people with their agendas. If Black Lives Matter, if Black Lives must matter, whether a person is employed or not. So fellow South Africans, thank you so much. Members of the media for also making the time showing interest in this matter. Please, the media, I'm challenging you can tell those who ask you, because I know media all the time will first question, they will ask me about those who call, who ask me whether I am politicizing this or not. I want you as a media to know I am politicizing it. So you don't have to worry about asking that question any longer. So you're most welcome to quote me upfront. That no, Mashaba says that there's a political matter and is looking for a political solution to it. Thank you very much. Let's hope that South Africans from north to south, east to west, all of them are going to join us in making sure that one day Pretty, Yvonne, and Solomon's bodies are exhumed, and one day when we meet again, we'll meet at a funeral, so that these families can be given an opportunity to go back and resume their lives. Thank you very much. I appreciate your presence.